This volume of Berserk opens up with Guts and Casca in their winter journey, fighting tons of different winter demons, snow demons. It was absolutely wonderful seeing what exactly is going on during their journey. Guts is being visited by this dark beast again, this beast of darkness, and it seems to be tempting Guts, saying it's his desire to kill Casca. Why are you keeping her around? She's just an empty husk. This is just a wound that Griffith inflicted on you, and it reminds you that you want to go after Griffith. But this is your true desire, and it shows the beast breaking and cutting into and biting into Casca's neck. And later on, we actually see him go as far, Guts go as far, as to giving into the temptation and grabbing Casca by the neck after he rescues her from these three thieves. And he almost rapes her. He bites down on her breast, but he stops himself and he realizes what he's doing isn't right. So I don't know what the implications of this Beast of Darkness are going to hold on the story, but I can't wait to see more of it. But I thought it was very nice and very much needed to see Guts on this journey, how he's responding to, protecting Casca by himself. Because as of this point, he was by himself. He was protecting himself and sometimes protecting Puck. At this point, he needs to use his sword to protect Casca. He even says he didn't realize how much of a burden this was going to be. He didn't realize how heavy his sword was going to be. If he dies, Casca dies. And he even wonders himself, why he's still protecting her. He feels like this shadow of her former self is reminding him of the days of the Golden Age arc. So I really did love the monologue of Guts, and I loved seeing this Beast of Darkness tempt him as well. It's showing a change in Guts. It's making me wonder what is going to happen to him as a character. Then we basically see Isidro again. My boy Isidro shows up, and he apparently was stealing from Farnese and Serpico, and this is how they all end up winding up together. And I really love seeing the interactions between all the characters in Guts' group. Farnese pledging herself to Guts, asking him to show her how to protect herself in the darkness where the Holy See couldn't protect her. Basically wanting to learn from him, and Guts basically says, you do what you want to do, typical Guts response. You do what you want to do. And she says, thank you. So now they're with them. Serpico's being domesticated. So is Puck. They're cooking food together. Farnese is the babysitter for Casca. I thought it was very neat to see. But what I loved about it was we got a lot of character development and inner monologue for Farnese. And the character's starting to grow on me. I'm starting to like the character a little bit more. At first I thought she was useless, and she still is useless, but she's realizing she's a burden to the group, but she still doesn't want to go back to the Holy City simply because she's discovering herself. She's finding out more things about her. And I would like to see her role as a babysitter transcend and her become more of a combatant and somebody that can fight off these evil spirits alongside Serpico, Isidro, and Guts. Not just be a babysitter for Casca. At this point, she reminds me a lot of Tyrese from this current season of The Walking Dead. They're playing the babysitter role. But like I said, I would love to see Farnese develop even more. So it was very nice seeing what's going on in Guts' group. And the fact that Guts is training Isidro, and he says, I could teach you the basics, but you need to learn on your own as well. And I love seeing Isidro being trained, because I want to see Isidro become a stronger character. I truly do. I want to see him grow as a warrior and see what he can do alongside Guts. And I also love the interaction between Puck and Isidro as well. Puck saying, show him the elf dimension technique and this, that, and everything. They have that comedic dynamic for the series, and it kind of lightens the mood. As they go forth, though, they're going towards a port city, apparently, Vetranus. And if I'm not mistaken, that is this home city of Farnese's family. And apparently there's allied countries forming there to fight the Kushan, which I'll get to that in a moment. But if this is the case and they get to this city, this is going to spell promise for Farnese, I would believe, because her father always treated her as a bargaining chip. He's not just going to let his daughter get away and go with this random dude, Guts, to Elfheim go over the ocean and whatnot. So I could see an arc happening in that city. I truly can, because I can't just see her father letting her go. But before they can get there, they have to fight these trolls. So for the first time in the series, we're going to see trolls. I don't know why we haven't seen them before. Maybe it has to do something with the Age of Darkness that's coming, and these fantastical creatures and whatnot are bringing themselves into the physical realm, and that's why trolls are appearing now. I don't know, but I look forward to seeing Guts battle against these trolls because we get to see their feet at the end of the volume. And the other thing I want to talk about is Griffith and his new Band of the Hawk. And I was right; they pretty much all are apostles. He's drawing from the dark side of the world, but he has war demons that cannot go back to human form, fighting in the darkness, taking out, fleeing enemies. And that dude that was an exile from the Kushan is leading them. But what I love seeing was there's a small fiefdom that they end up saving, and this guy, Lord Mule, basically watches this all happen. And there's this girl, Sonya, who we've seen in the previous volume, who apparently can read thoughts and telecommunicate. And telepathically communicate, and she's the one overseeing the whole battle and relaying messages to Griffith and whatnot. So I don't know if she's an apostle, but she has a unique ability, and she even goes into Lord Mule's mind and tells him to watch out when arrows were shot at him. But after the battle, he's like, "Oh my God, this is crazy," and he gets to meet Griffith. But before that, he's walking through the camp, and he can't believe how peaceful it is, considering this is a battlefield. It's much like how the Band of the Hawk was back in the Golden Age arc. They were all family. It was very peaceful after war and everything. So I like that we're getting this same feeling, but it's definitely a lot different considering the individuals that are part of Griffith's new Band of the Hawk. They're all apostles. We get to see the Moonlight Knight Locust more. And I like that he was the one to explain why there's Kushan enemies there being trained as pledges. Because in the volume we've seen the Kushan use war slaves, but they ruled by fear, where Locust explains they're ruling by fear and incentive. The war slaves that they pick up, if they can survive the brunt of 3 wars, 3 battles, they will be able to choose to be pledges or die. And if they choose to be pledges, they get trained, and they actually have the opportunity to command soldiers in the Band of the Hawk if they prove themselves, which angers Lord Mule, which I can understand. But then Locust says, you have to understand, your enemies aren't much different than you. And this point is driven home as Sonya brings Mule through this dark cavern to go to Griffith, and we see those war demons I mentioned a moment ago. And this is when Mule realizes, we really are not that much different when I'm confronted with these things that don't look like humans, basically. And that's when we get introduced to that big dude with the serpent flamethrower, because these demons try to fuck with Sonya and Mule, and he rescues them. And basically, but I really like Sonya's childish and innocent personality, because she tells the dude that was just about to eat her, "I'll bring you a corpse later," and Grunbeld gets mad. But we learn about his legend, what he did, why he's a legend among the world. Same thing with the Locust Knight. So it's very much needed to see these different individuals of the new Band of the Hawk. We get to see just how prominent they are in the world. But Lord Mule says he heard that, I believe it was, Grunbeld died at one point. What is he doing here? And we also learn the dude's name that has the demonic-looking bow, who we've seen shoot 3 arrows with such force that it took off the target's head. And his name is Irvine. And that bow reminds me of the Soul Calibur from Soul Calibur. It has like the eye on it and stuff. So we're getting introduced to all these new characters. They're very interesting. They're obviously very powerful, and I enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot. But when he actually gets to Griffith, this is the moment I enjoyed the most. We see Griffith there with these souls flying around him, and we learn these are the souls of the dead that perished during the battle. And he is allowing the loved ones of these dead people, these dead warriors, to say their final farewells. And we see a husband present itself in soul form, actually take a physical form and say goodbye to his daughter and wife. And this kind of struck me, like, Griffith doesn't seem like a bad guy. He still seems like the same Griffith from the Golden Age arc. He's still looking out for his comrades and stuff. But I also feel like he's doing it because he knows this is what he needs to do to have full devotion from everybody in Midland. He's not a dumb dude. He's very strategic, and he knows what he has to do. And he has more power now than he had during the Golden Age arc. So Griffith, by no means, is a good guy. He's just using people, and that's what he's always been doing. And he's doing it even more, and that's at least what I believe. But I did like seeing that. But what was crazy is Lord Mule's reaction. A dude he just met, he pledges his loyalty to him just like that. And says, this is destiny. This doesn't feel like a meeting. This is destiny. This is something that borders on a legend's domain. This isn't just some like folktale. This is a legend. And he says this is destiny, and he gets knighted by Griffith, and he basically pledges himself to Griffith, just like that. Just the image of Griffith. He thought Griffith was going to be manly, muscular, but he seems neither that nor human. And he pledges himself immediately to Griffith. And I thought that was crazy. It shows just how significant and powerful Griffith's presence is now. And I was trying to find a word in one of my previous reviews, and that word is divine. Griffith feels very divine now. He doesn't feel like a demon. But we know he's bringing about the Age of Darkness. So I want to see what the implications are going to be and the consequences are going to be from Griffith forming the Millennium Empire. The Millennium Empire, because this is what this is called. This is the arc, the Hulk of the Millennium Empire. So I'm very much looking forward to see how that plays out and what this Age of Darkness is all about. I'm going to assume that if he establishes his kingdom and he brings about the Age of Darkness, the physical realm and the realm of these demons and whatnot are probably going to merge of some way. That's the only thing I could think of, because the Age of Darkness sounds like that is what it would be. And these fantastical creatures are going to end up flooding into the physical realm, into Guts' world. Just like these trolls are showing up now, because these trolls very much feel like they don't belong in a normal world. They're fantastical creatures. They're creatures of fantasy. So maybe this is what's going to happen. Once this Age of Darkness fully comes, these fantastical creatures are all going to flood into the world. That's just my thoughts on that. I could be completely wrong. Overall, though, this volume really surprised me. I've really enjoyed it. I love the inner monologues of Guts. I love the inner monologue of Farnese, and we're getting to see that the character is changing, and Guts is changing as well. I love that we got to see the relationship between Guts and Casca, and Guts realizing that even what he's doing now, reaching that Tower of Conviction and saving her, is not going to eliminate the 2 years that he abandoned her, and he realizes that. And she's looking at him with like disdain and animosity and whatnot because of what he did. She even almost attacked him with a sword at one point. So Guts realizes, even though he's trying so hard, the distance between them is growing further and further apart. And I hope one day Casca will come to her senses, and even if she doesn't become the old Casca, she learns that Guts really isn't the enemy, and Guts is just trying to protect her. And I would like to see a relationship form between them again, because I really did like when Guts and Casca were basically in a relationship and they loved each other and they needed each other. So I hope at some point in this series we get back to that type of relationship between Guts and Casca, even if Casca doesn't regain all their memories. She needs to realize Guts is just trying to protect her. And I think the fact that this distance growing between Guts and Casca, and him seeing her look at him with animosity and mistrust, I think this is also playing a role on his mentality and making him, act the way he's acting. It's just it's stress. It's a heavy burden that he's dealing with, and he was dealing with it on his own until Farnese, Serpico, and Isidro showed up. He even said if he was by himself still, he wouldn't have accepted their help, but he knows he needs their help because the burden's too great to protect Casca on his own. He is actually shooken by his I think they said sinisterness, basically realizing if he was by himself, he would have turned them away. And he is shaken by how powerless he is to protect Casca on his own, that he needs the help of others. So I love seeing this side of Guts. I love seeing the inner monologues. I love seeing that he's changing as a character once again, and he's accepting people's help. And I hope down the line he'll understand that these people are his comrades. He needs these people. He can't do everything on his own. He doesn't have to struggle on his own. He has other people that want to join him. So I hope he understands that and realizes that later on. So overall, like I said, this is an amazing volume. It delivered a lot of information. It progressed the story a little bit. It gave us some character development for some characters. It gave us inner monologues. I'd have to give this volume a 9 out of 10. It did an amazing job to do so. The only thing I would have liked more of is action, obviously, and maybe see a little bit of Serpico, what he's thinking, see a little bit of what Griffith is thinking, but we never really truly get a lot of inner monologue from Griffith. The only time we did get a lot of inner monologue from Griffith was during the eclipse. So I'm not too surprised that we're not getting it as of right now either. He's supposed to be like a mystery, basically. But let me know your thoughts on this volume. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Do you agree with my points? Disagree with my points? I can't wait to see what's going to happen when Guts confronts Griffith again, and he has to fight against some of these apostles of the new Band of the Hawk. If that ever does happen, I'm going to assume it eventually will happen, but I don't know if it does later on in the series. I know the series keeps going on hiatus, so I'm very much looking forward to what this is all going to, what all the consequences are going to be of this new empire and Guts going to Vitranus and whatnot. So let me know your thoughts, guys. If you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button. It truly does help. Keeps me motivated. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I'd greatly appreciate it. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching my review of Volume 23 of that Berserk greatness. This volume really did surprise me. It was a great follow-up to Volume 22. Hopefully Volume 24 delivers as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.